Right, continuing discussion of late adulthood, and one obvious component of late adulthood is aging is going on. Aging is noticeably happening. The body is changing during this time, and different scientists in different fields have tried to explain or help us understand the process of aging. Like, what makes our bodies age? You know, how do our bodies go through this process? So I'm just going to review three major theories of aging. One of them is wear and tear theory, and this is basically, it's kind of like the body gets beaten up the longer you're around. It's the way I think about it. So the body is damaged. It suffers from things like overuse, weather, things like sun damage, harmful food, the foods that aren't so good for you, so good for the body, pollution, radiation, that over time, the more years you are on the earth, the more opportunities for you to have this type of damage take place, and it just kind of beats up on the body. Another theory is genetic theory. With genetic theory, the idea is that your genes code for many things. And one of those things is they might code a particular timeline. They might have something called a genetic clock contained in the code, in the DNA. And so that your species has a maximum lifespan, or the individual has a maximum lifespan that they can't go beyond, that's coded in their genes. Maximum lifespan, we do see this. Various species have a maximum lifespan, which is the oldest a member of that species has been observed to get. You might have heard that there are like giant tortoises that live like over 200 years. And then other species, they only live a few weeks, right? But for human beings, maximum lifespan seems to be about 125-ish. I will see slightly different numbers, but in that range. When you hear about people reaching record-breaking ages, there's never been anybody who went higher than that. And it's rare to be a centenarian, someone who gets to be above 100 even. Maximum lifespan, importantly, is different than average life expectancy, because maximum lifespan is like, in a perfect world where you don't have any like major injuries or disease or things increasing your likelihood of damage, that's as old as you possibly could get. But, as I said, humans don't get that old or even close to it. So average life expectancy is how old, most people, what's the average, what's the statistical mean. And it is, currently it's about 78 when you look at males and females together. And the research has been broken into males and females. We have not gone by like gender identity and things like that. So just letting you know if you were wondering. So just comparing males and females. So 78 overall average, and men lower than women. Women is more like early 80s. Men, it's in the 70s. All right. So why is that average life expectancy lower than the maximum lifespan? Because stuff happens to you. All this other stuff. This included like in wear and tear theory. All right. And you can probably guess that this is another one of those areas where any one of these theories may not be the full explanation. They work together. And then we have cellular aging theory. All right, with cellular aging theory, this has to do with the cells in your body and what happens to them because of the processes that they go through. And so molecules in cells are affected by aging because they have to go through divisions, all right? They have to go through divisions, they have to go through processes, and there may be a limit on how many times cells can divide. We have this thing called the Hayflick limit, that basically cells can only divide a certain amount of times. It's like they have an endpoint. And I'm giving you the very basic, general, simplified version of things. This isn't a microbiology class, but just, the Hayflick limit, it's a limited number of times that the cells can divide. And then also telomeres are these parts of chromosomes that when they shorten, if they shorten to a certain degree, that might also kind of act as an endpoint. Again, not giving you the microbiology version, giving you kind of the simple developmental psychology version. So just be familiar with these ideas. All right, so the basic idea is all three of these things may contribute to how long you live, what the body goes through as it gets older. So yeah, you probably do experience wear and tear. Your genes may play into how long an individual can expect to live, and then the fact that the cellular processes are going on. That means that, you know, that maximum life span, that maximum life expectancy or span, there's a reason it has a cap on it, essentially. All right. All right, the next thing that we are going to talk about, next videos are going to be less about biology and more about social stuff, social topics having to do with aging.